my people that have gonna rise again. Like a tree that grows in the mountain ground, the storms of life have thrown them down. But the new wood springs from the roots underground, gonna rise again. Gonna rise again.
Now, how many of you think that song is about my grandfather?
How many of you think that song is about somebody else's grandfather?
Fictionalized grandfather, an idealized grandfather, a generic, virtual grandfather.
And how many of you didn't vote in the last election?
Okay. If you think that song is not about my grandfather, my Zaidi, that's the Hebrew, the Yiddish for grandfather, you're right. You win a stuffed Hasidic teddy bear.
Now, my Zaidi, Gabriel Kahn, would never have had ham in his smokehouse. Abyssal corned beef, a little pastrami, some whitefish, maybe, but ham, never. Not in a million years, according to the Jewish calendar.
As it so happens, that song is not about either of my two grandfathers or any of my four grandmothers. In fact, it's not about my mother's father, Simon Aronson, who died long before I was born, and after whom I'm named.
Right, and it's not about his first wife, Nellie Aronson, who was burned to death when their home caught fire after they'd only been married a year.
It's not about his second wife, my mother's birth mother, who died at home in childbirth when my mom was just 4 years old.
My mother was left alone in an upstairs bedroom, paralyzed, terrified through hours of pain and fear and shrieks and tears. And then, the terrible, terrible silence. A stranger opened the bedroom door into my mother's loneliness and said,
You have a new brother, but your mother is dead.
and he closed the door. And that door remained closed another 51 years until my mother's death from breast cancer at age 55. I was 24 years old.
And that song is not about Simon Aronson's third wife, Bobby Aronson, my mom's stepmother, the woman who raised her, whom she considered her mother. And there's more to that.
Bubby Aronson raised not only her own 3 children, but my mother, her sister, and her 2 brothers, 7 children in all. My mother's name was Rosalind, from the Yiddish, Rosalinda, meaning beautiful flower.
Bubby Aronson's full name was
Ray Sterling Davis Aronson.
But she was born, Ray Sterling, in Warsaw to a family that owned a brewery. Bubby Aronson was as tough and as courageous as they come. When she was still living in Warsaw, her firstborn child, my uncle, Max Davis, he was still a baby, fell deathly ill. Fortunately, there was medicine that could cure him, and the pharmacy was half-mile walk away. Unfortunately, when Bubby Aronson opened the door to walk to the pharmacy, what did she see? Dozens of Cossacks. Yeah, their unsheathed sabers slicing the air, speeding their horses down the street. Thank you. So, it's never a good time for a pogrom. That's a government-sponsored mass killing of Jews, right? But from Bubby Aronson's point of view, this was a worse time than usual for a pogrom to be taking place. But did she go back in her house?
Not on your life.
Not on her life, in this case. No. As a Cossack bore down on her, saber held high, she walked into the street, directly in front of his horse, and grabbed the bridle. And the Cossack, startled by this clearly crazy woman, jerks on the reins, stops dead in his tracks.
Woman, are you nuts?
My son is dying. You must go get medicine that will save his life. Ride to village chemist. Bring back medicine. Like Svanoye Redsfield. Like Svanoye Redsfield.
She lets go of the bridle. And who knows why? And who will ever know why? The Cossack spun his horse around and galloped off. And within minutes was back with the medicine.
Hier is lekkers. Svanoye Redsfield. Medium. Good luck.
My Uncle Max survived both the illness and the pogrom. I mean, he narrowly escaped death in Warsaw, and few Jewish children did. He still died too young to have a heart attack. He was walking up the steps to Massachusetts General Hospital, where he was head of gynecology and obstetrics. Ooh, and where on April 23rd, 1944, he delivered me. Oh, Max's death sent Bubby Aronson into this perpetual mourning. She would come visit us for the weekend and stay for months. I knew the depth of her grief. It hung over our home and my childhood. Is the story of Bubby Aronson and the Cossacks true? Are any of the stories I'm telling you true? Well, I don't know. How would I know? No, all I know is these are the stories my family told me, time and time again, year after year, until they're as familiar to me as they were to them. They're the stories they told themselves and each other, the answers to the questions that dogged their lives. Who are we? What are we doing here? Where are we going?
This is why we're telling them to you. Who are you? What are you doing here? Where are you going? Do you still remember the year the famine fell and everything you had was turned to one long living hell? So you gathered up the children and the little that you had, and you came into this country as a stranger. I am bound away to leave you with a suitcase in my hand. I am bound away for freedom. I'm a stranger in this land. Now do you teach your children how they have come so far from the fighting of the Cossacks and the prisons of the Tsar? Without a word of English, they bravely stepped ashore through the gates of Ellis Island as a stranger. I am bound away to leave you with a suitcase in my hand. I am bound away for freedom. I'm a stranger in this land. Now those who flee from hunger and those who run from war are still struggling by the millions to reach this country's shore. Before you start to judge them, remember who you are, and remember that you came here as a stranger. I am bound away to leave you with a suitcase in my hand. I am bound